We interrupt the regularly scheduled mass programming feeds. Watchmen bring this announcement to the earth. A famine of the word of Yahuwah is found on the earth. Plagues are poured out in judgment. Important words of the Creator Yahuwah have been dismissed. Without the word, people are not living abundantly. My people perish for lack of knowledge. There is a city whose builder is Yahuwah Aloha. There is healing for the nations. A light unto the Gentiles, restore all truth. Join us as we share from the word of Yahuwah.
Welcome to A Light unto the Gentiles ministry. We wanted to say Happy New Year. It is a brand new year on the Hebrew calendar. It's not January 1st on the Roman Gregorian calendar. It is, in fact, the first month, the first day of the year. There are a lot of calendars out there. We want to be on the right calendar, and that's the one that's going to be in the scriptures. So we're going to take a look at that today. So a new year has begun. I'm going to leave some links in the description that may be helpful for you to go and check out. One of the things we want to do is we want to know what calendar we live on and who set that calendar in motion, who has the authority over the happenings on that calendar, and what calendar have we subscribed to. This page is from renewedmoon.com, and when I went to check this report earlier and grab a couple of shots, this said maybe on the Aviv barley report, but then it changed to positive. A couple hours and it had changed from maybe to positive. So this site is sharing 3 different sources that have said that the barley is Abib now. When we go to worldslastchance.com, we can type in here, reckoning the new year. Biblical calendation, reckoning the new year. The gist of this study is that even through Philo, through Josephus, there is evidence that the new moon closest to the equinox, the spring equinox, is when the new year begins. And so whenever the new moon falls between March 7 and April 3, that is the moon. It may be the March 6, maybe April 4. You're getting on the edges there. You got to really count. It's going to be the new moon closest to the spring equinox. So generally, that's the numbers I regard is from March 7 to April 3rd. Whatever that new moon is, that is always the new moon when the barley will be Abib. So there is evidence here with first century historians. You can go and take a look here. I will be posting a link to this page in the description. So this is at renewedmoon.com. Latest update from renewedmoon.com is that Malaysia, also areas of Mauritius, had sighted the moon, as well as Jordan, Jerusalem, Haifa, Beersheba, and Negev, Zebulun Valley, Tel Aviv, and Haifa district had all seen the moon. So whenever the moon is sighted, everybody west of that, it will be new moon for that day. And when we get to the man-made date line over here past Hawaii area, what is Monday for us is Tuesday for them. Unless they happen to see it on their Monday first, then they will head off the quote Monday days. But Monday is a day on the Gregorian calendar. Every month, wherever the moon is first sighted, everything west of that is going to have their new moon first visible crescent. First visible crescent is not a sign for new moon. It is a sign that new moon is over. And right now here in Hawaii, it'll take me a little time to get this up on YouTube, but here in Hawaii, it's not dark time yet, so we will be observing that moon tonight with clear visible conditions. And it has been a 2-day new moon. New moon can only be 1 day or 2 days. Here's an image from a website where they have Passover events. This one's called PassoverListings.com. And this one happened to be in Cabo San Lucas. I posted this because here's a lot of people celebrating a Passover meal. This is an appointed time in the scriptures which we are commanded to keep. But like many Americans, I grew up in a Christian home where we didn't keep the scriptural feast. We kept Christmas and Easter and Valentine's Day and Halloween and the New Year's Day. But these are not the festival days in the scriptures. However, we do have in Exodus 12, verse 2, that this is the beginning of months for you, and that was in the month of Abib. The Jewish community, they keep 4 different New Years, and they do not call this one in this month the beginning of the year. Generally, they consider their beginning of the year as a civil year that begins in the fall. Here's another picture of a family having their Passover meal. Passover is on the 14th night. Passover meal, some of the foods that are traditionally eaten. And Passover also begins a week of eating unleavened bread. The Passover, there's a lot of great scripture in Exodus. You just want to go read it. Talks all about the Exodus, the Passover, how the people were persecuted, slaughtered even, but they had a Redeemer that heard their cries and came to save them. Exodus 12:17 says, "And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for this day I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever." 1 Corinthians 5:7 says, "Purge out therefore the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, as you are unleavened, for even Mashiach, Messiah, our Passover, is sacrificed for us." So we celebrate Passover. We'll find the command in Leviticus 23 to celebrate Passover, among other places. One of the ways that my family loves to celebrate Passover is we love to watch Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments. It's over 70 years old now, and it's such an amazing movie. So I brought a few calendars over here. This one I pulled off on my computer, March 2024. And this is a calendar showing the Jewish calendar with Christian holidays, Irish holiday, Islam festival and fast, and an Indian festival. We see here they're saying that the month of Adar, the 12th month on the Hebrew calendar, ended. And then the first day of Adar Bait is today, March 11, when this is being recorded. Well, they got that it is the first day. They got that part right, but it's not actually an Adar Bet. It is Nisan, which is the first day of the calendar. Just to get you acclimated here, this is March 1 here on this Friday, and the 21st was the day of the month Adar, the Hebrew month. The Hebrew month mentioned in scriptures is Adar. When we come down here and we finished out the month, this was a dark moon day. And then this is today, the first day of Nisan. So they have on this calendar, hey, we've got St. Patrick's Day, we've got Palm Sunday, and we've got Good Friday, we've got Easter, and we've got April Fool's Day. I believe that April Fool's thing has to do with those who keep a calendar that they think the year begins in the spring. Well, actually, the Creator thinks that as well. And that's what he commanded us in Exodus 12, verse 2. This is not actually Palm Sunday, and it's not Good Friday either, because Rome has its own calendar. From 1582, it's been a Gregorian calendar. 46 BC, it was the Julian calendar, and that calendar, Julius Caesar had his calendar mathematician, Sosigenes, remove the moon from the calendation. So Rome's calendar, aka the Christian calendar, aka the calendar most people accept in the world and other beliefs have to recognize and work with in some way, some more, some less, is this Gregorian calendar. To be clear, the Saturday is not on Yahuwah's calendar. There's no Saturday in the scriptures. There's no Friday in the scriptures. When Yahuwah does a calendar, he goes from the first. That's this one over here. Okay, this is the way it works. It's the first, and it goes through the 30th. It'll go through the 29th or the 30th, and the moon has 2 dark days. And so those are the days that the new moon translation is happening. When the first day is over, we will see a first visible crescent. So that will be tonight. And it doesn't last very long, but it lasts a little while. It could last about an hour or less. All right, so St. Patrick's, obviously that was an event that happened well beyond the scriptures, but something that people regard. Wearing green, having big parties, that's sort of the idea that goes with St. Patrick's, but it had a different beginning and origin. Something to be reviewed and regarded. March 24 calendar right off of my computer, and you can see here that it is showing us that we have the month of Adar 30, the 30th day, and then we go into Adar Bait, a 13th month on the Jewish calendar. However, there are some changes to that because the Jews in Judaism, they're following a first new moon after the equinox. However, the new moon is actually the new moon closest to the equinox. So they're going to be a month late this year. So they've added a 13th month. Sometimes it is necessary to add a 13th month because the lunar calendar is only about 354 days. And then the solar calendar is 365. So those things have to be reconciled. The Indian calendar is the same way. They have 12 months. And then every 30 months, I believe it is, they add a 13th month to bring a reconciliation to those things. This calendar is showing the Hebrew days of the month on the left side. So this is a brand new month starting March 11. And it's also a brand new year. As I said, they will be a month off from the real calendar. The calendar is something we have to study because we were raised on the Gregorian Roman calendar. We have to examine who is in charge there when they set up a Roman calendar.
If you're enjoying this video, click like, subscribe, click the bell, and please share this video. Shalom. Let's get back to the video.
St. Patrick's is also a Christian and Catholic observation. This is on March 17th. And I think we've gotten away from what it was about originally. I've seen a movie about St. Patrick. There were a lot of miracles happening. Again, we have Palm Sunday, and we have Good Friday, and we have Easter, and we have April Fool's. So all of these are on Rome's calendar. There's no Sunday to Saturday on the Hebrew calendar in the scriptures. We count from 1 to 29 or 30. Can be a 29-day month, but they should be 30 days. A restored calendar would bring us 30 days in every month, just like it shows us in Genesis at the time of the flood. Okay, here's a restored Hebrew calendar just for this month. You can see that I've X'd out the Adar Beit, and it's now Nisan, the month of Nisan. I've also X'd out the first night of, we'll get to that in a moment. I've X'd out Holy, we'll get to that in a moment. Palm Sunday, I've X'd out. I've X'd out Easter and April Fool's Day and Good Friday. Those are X'd out on this restored Hebrew calendar. What we want to look at is that Nisan 1 began March 11 of this 2024 year. We want to regard that the 14th is Passover. 14th of Nisan, the first month, is Passover. The 15th of Nisan is a high Shabbat. And the 16th day of Nisan is Resurrection Day, Feast of First Fruits. So for this month and this year, Ramadan begins. It's on the Islam calendar. This is their 9th month, okay? So 9th month there, first month on the Hebrew calendar, 13th month on the Judaism calendar, and it is the 12th month on the Indian calendar. So there's got to be some reconciliation and finding the truth on that. I recommend Troy Miller at creationcalendar.com and also worldslastchance.com to learn the calendar in the scriptures. So this says this year, the first night of Ramadan will be in the 9th month on Islam calendar after sunset on the evening of Monday, March 11. So that begins tonight, which is March 11 as I am recording this. This was confirmed by the Grand Mufti of Australia, Dr. Ibrahim Abu Muhammad. And now we're going to move on and look at the Indian calendar. We have Holi or Holy 2024 in India. As per the Hindu calendar, Holi is celebrated every year on the full moon date of their 12th month. This year, Holi will be celebrated on March 25, 2024. They are aligned with the full moon, whereas the Ramadan was aligned with New Moon Day. Great to know. I think they have a month of fasting. They're fasting all day and then they eat dinner in the evening. I believe that's how it goes. A day before Holi is celebrated as Holika Dahan, also known as Hoti Holi, on Sunday, March 24, 2024. As in most states across India, Holi is celebrated for 2 days. Similar to our Passover, we have Passover in the evening, and then we have the High Shabbat. Although it's 2 separate festivals, it is something we're regarding together. We also have an eclipse. Everybody's talking about the solar eclipse on April 8th. However, there is a lunar eclipse, March 24, 25th. So I've looked up the lunar eclipse from my local time in Hilo, Hawaii, but you can look it up for yourself if it's going to be visible or not. It says here lunar eclipses can be visible from everywhere on the night side of the earth if the sky is clear. From some places, the entire eclipse will be visible, while in other areas, the moon will rise or set during the eclipse. So this again is in line with this Passover. Now that we know that for sure today is New Moon Day and New Year's Day, we know that Passover is going to be on the 14th day of Nisan always, but the 24th day of March. And that this lunar eclipse, which often happens on one of these Passover high Shabbat times, here it is again. This is not just a lunar eclipse, but it's on a Passover high Shabbat. It's penumbral, so it's not fully covered, but it's almost fully covered. Just a little white tip here. It's really the Americas that are really under this sign. It's a sign from the heavens. And it is for those that are watching regarding the moon, because other people aren't even talking about it. Why would an Earth with nearly 8 billion people on it not be talking about a lunar eclipse? No, but they are talking about the solar eclipse because they're under the sun's calendar. It's important. That is our Father's mercy because he's given them a sign as well. But he's given us 2 weeks notice. Whatever that sign or omen is about, it's kind of like we have 2 weeks notice on that. So here I have all of that calendar information put together for you. And the only thing that I did not include previously is that we start the Feast of Unleavened Bread right here on the evening of the 14th at our Passover meal. When the sun goes down, our fast starts, our fast of leaven for 1 week. And so we're on this unleavened diet for 1 week. And it ends at the daytime portion, right? We go into the evening. When it gets dark there, our fast is over on this 21st day on the Hebrew calendar, but it will be March 31. So if you want to know when your Hebrew friends are done with their unleavened bread and you want to bring them some bread or something, that would be the night of March 31st. Well, we have another event this month that we can see, and we have some dates here from 2/25 through 3/16 and 4/5. It says from now through the end of March, 12 P Pons Brooks will be visible in the early evening sky within the constellation of Andromeda, the princess. Oh, Andromeda's a princess. To the upper left of the great square of Pegasus and hovering about 20 degrees above the west-northwest horizon at the end of evening twilight. So from February 25 to April 5, Comet 12 P Pons Brooks will take a track from north of the great square of Pegasus to Aries the Ram. One of the best times to spot the comet with your naked eye will be at the end of March, when on the evenings of March 30 and 31, it will be passing very close to the second magnitude star Hamal. Okay, so then we go into April. That will be the second month, although the Christians and the Jews will regard it as the first month of the year because they are looking for a new year to begin with the new moon after the equinox, not closest to the equinox. So here we have an image here. It shows the total solar eclipse path across the USA and Mexico on April 8, 2024. And then this shows a path of it because it doesn't just begin and end with the United States, but you can see it's going through Mexico. It's coming across the Pacific here, and then it's going on towards Europe. A lot of people who regard the sun will be in its viewing path, although you wouldn't look at the sun. I pray you'll draw in closer to Yahuwah. This year appears to have some rumblings of very bad news. I would like to remind everybody that the Hebrews in Goshen, they had to go through the first 3 plagues, but then after that, they were covered. I think part of that is just Yahuwah teaching us to follow him, to regard his word, to obey him. He said, if you bring your animals in, they won't be killed, but if you leave them in the field, they're going to get killed, things of that nature. So we have to learn to obey him. We have to learn to seek him. And he's one that is an excellent teacher. He can teach us how to walk with him and to obey him if we will humble our hearts and follow him and serve him. And there's going to be a greater exodus, a second exodus. Generally, people look for Yahuwah to come to intervene for a rapture or for whatever at these feast days. Pardon my ducky in the background. I am not personally looking for that to happen this year, although I do believe that the signs that we're seeing in the heavens are signs to tell us to regard. We're told when we see these signs in Matthew 24 that we should look up because our redemption draws nigh. I believe that it's more likely that there's, if you think about it, if you think about what would make a mixed multitude come out of Egypt, well, they saw the power of Yahuwah. They saw the destruction. And they're like, we're going with their Elohim, their Aloha. We're going with their Aloha. And I believe that's going to happen again. I think things very bad are going to happen. And I think 2024 looks like the year that a lot of that is going to go south. And by the way, it's not 2024 as in January 1, 2024. It's in the year just started today. I'm looking for next year. I think there will be a great humbling of the people between now and next year. And we can expect our Savior. We can expect him to make a way. We can expect him to rescue his people. The level of slavery and corruption that we have been under, we're not even aware how wicked it is. But the Creator knows. And when the people start figuring it out, I believe based on what the scriptures say, they're going to start crying out to him because he sent them a deliverer in Moses. And I believe he will send a deliverer as well. He's going to bring his people out of the nations. They've been scattered to the four corners of the earth. I'm not making this stuff up. It's in the scriptures. So Jeremiah 16 is a great place to read about the second Exodus. It's called the second Exodus, but it's called the Greater Gathering. We also have a sign that was given to us from Revelation 12. We need to regard Revelation 12. We need to regard the whole book of Revelation, I believe, because I believe we're in the book of Revelation. So may Yahuwah be with you this year. It is a brand new year. Draw close to him. Draw nigh to him. Bring yourself close to him. Pray. Pray for your families. Pray for your cities. Pray for your nation. And pray for Yahuwah's deliverance. Don't be so caught up with, is it the Republicans or the Democrats that are going to win the election? Don't be so caught up in that, because Yahuwah is greater and he's outside of all of that. And he has a plan for his people. Not just you, not just me. He has a plan for his people. He's going to be delivering, just like he did with the Hebrews, just like he told Abraham, I'm going to deliver your people. They're going to be down in Egypt, whatever the Egypt is of our day, we're going to be down there until such and such a day. He brought them out right after their Passover meal. He told them how to keep Passover. And then he said, you're going to keep this every year. And he calls it a rehearsal. In Hebrew, it's a mikra. It's a rehearsal. What are we rehearsing for? Well, we're rehearsing again. So I invite you all to participate in Passover. I will also link some recipes and just get involved. Start learning to keep the feast in the scriptures instead of the feast of the world that we've been raised in. We have to be willing to walk away from that. Walk away from anything that's not Yahuwah. He's not going to let you keep your Easter egg dyeing and your Easter kits and your Easter baskets and you're mixing that with a resurrection day. That's just wickedness. We got to be able to walk away from what is not in the word and just follow the word. Just follow him. He doesn't do a mixture. He doesn't do a pagan mixture version of himself. He doesn't regard Rome's calendar. It's his calendar. So it's important to get to know his calendar. Learn. Go study. Go study from Troy Miller at Creation Calendar. I understand Troy Miller has a brand new book out. It's important. Go get that book. I don't know anybody who knows the calendar better than Troy and better able to explain it than Troy. Also, World's Last Chance. They have amazing videos and they have some amazing information on their website as well. Who has done a great work with many from the Seventh-day Adventist upbringing on the Shabbat, on the true calendar, on restoring. You can only imagine that as we get so close to the end, that the wicked one has done everything he can to separate us from our Creator, from his language, from his calendar, from his people, so that we would all be alone and isolated and that our strength would be worn out. So just restore all truth. Restore all truth. May Yahuwah be with you, and may you have a wonderful Baruch New Year. Shalom.
May this video enrich your love in and understanding of our Abba Yahuwah and his word. Much has been hidden. Together let's seek the restoration of all truth. A Light Unto the Gentiles channel invites you to join the Hebrew Restoration and Code Searching team. Please email us at alightuntothe@gmail.com to let us know of your interest. Looking for fellowship? We invite you to join our Facebook group, Code Searching Hebrews. Love, truth, and revelation are vital in these last days. The Hebrew Restoration and Code Searching Ministries, through A Light Unto the Gentiles, serves Yahuwah and the sheep from our Father's pasture. Please prayerfully consider a monthly donation to Restoration Farms Incorporated. Links are provided for you below in the description.